As promised, Old Dominion's new head basketball coach, Mike Jones, on Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. The rumors that I started and perpetuated came true. Mike Jones, head coach of the Old DU Monarchs, will join us here shortly. We talk about taking a different path. He was on a career of being a high school guidance counselor and very successful high school basketball coach, and one of the premier high school teams out there at DeMatha, and ended up taking a different path a few years ago. He talks about his recruiting philosophy, his playing philosophy, and learning to deal with the portal and NIL. It's a great conversation. By the way, it's a little bit longer because we will recap Tuesday's action in the Sun Belt at the end. So stay tuned, and please listen to the entire interview. It's a good one. He is the new head coach of the Old Dominion Monarchs. He is Mike Jones on Locked On Sunbelt. Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Thrilled to have the new head basketball coach of the ODU Monarchs with us, Mike Jones. Let's get into the background, Coach, because we got some guys in the Final Four that chose the high school basketball route. But Kevin Keats was there for a minute, and so did Nate Oates, right? Bobby Hurley found him coaching Romulus outside of Detroit. Now he's in the Final Four. You did the same thing. For those who are not familiar with the route that you chose, I mean, you ended up coaching at one of the premier high schools in America at DeMatha. Tell everybody about it.
Yeah, so I went to DeMatha. I played at DeMatha before I went to Old Dominion as a student athlete. And when I stopped playing overseas, I came back and joined Coach Morgan Wooten's staff and became a guidance counselor. That's what I got my degree in at ODU. And when Coach retired, I was right place, right time. I was fortunate enough to be given the head coaching job and stayed there for 19 years. Never thought I'd leave after lasting the first couple and getting out of harm's way, I guess you could say, with the record. So, and I mean, the rest is kind of history.
So, okay, so you won. All right, but we'll get into the pro here in a minute here. But you won a national championship as a high school basketball coach. What is that like? Because I kind of remember that, right? Was there the USA Today top 25? You guys were number one. That's got to be mind-boggling.
Yeah. So back then, it's a little different now. Back then, there were like, I think 4 different ones you could win.
Okay.
And most years they had the same number one team. Some years, there'd be an argument, split here, split there. The year we won, there were no other undefeated teams. We went 34-1. So all the competition we had against us either had one loss or more. So it was, I guess, easier for us to be named national champion. I'm very proud of that. That was back in 2006. And again, it seems like ages ago now, but I'm very proud of that team.
Well, tell some of the players that you did coach, because you did coach a handful of guys that ended up in the NBA. Yeah,
we were blessed. We've never taken credit for those guys making it to the NBA. I tell people all the time, I was just smart enough to not get in their way. So we've had the number 1 pick in the draft, Markelle Fultz, who's currently with the Orlando Magic. We've had the number 2 pick in the draft, Victor Oladipo, who has bounced around a little bit this year because he's injured and people were using his contract for different personnel moves. We coach Jeremy Grant, who is doing wonderfully in Portland right now, Olympic gold medalist in the last Olympics, and we'll see what happens with the next one. Jaren Grant, who was a first-round pick at the time, the Wizards, who traded him to the Knicks. He's playing for a European championship this year over in Greece, I believe. Jordan Hawkins, just in this past NBA draft, lottery pick, playing for the Pelicans, having a really, really strong rookie year.
Right.
And then, Josh Selby was the very first one way back in the day. I think he came out in 2012, 2013, something like that. Quinn Cook won an NBA championship with the Warriors and with the Lakers. Nate Darling played with the Charlotte Hornets. So, yeah, we've had a few.
Now, I was going to say, if you coach one Grant, you probably coach the other one. Can you tell the difference between the Grants? Because
Well, there's
twins,
four of them.
right?
There's four of them. They're not.
Oh, okay.
They're not twins.
Oh, okay. I
There
thought they
are
were
four of
twins.
them.
Okay.
No. So Jeray Grant is the very first one. He played at DeMatha, graduated in 2007, went on to play at Clemson for Oliver Purnell, who was my coach at Old Dominion.
Oh, wow.
But he was at Clemson at the time, so Jeray went on to play for him. Jaron was the next one, went to Notre Dame, All-American there, first-round draft pick. Jeremy was the third one, went to Syracuse, and obviously he's playing in the NBA now. And then Jalen is the youngest one. He also played for me at DeMatha. He went to a couple of different schools, and literally now played in Australia, I believe, a year ago. But literally now he's always loved to cook. So he is working on, if he's not already a professional chef. And that is, he's really embraced that in his adult life.
That's outstanding. We're talking with Mike Jones, new head basketball coach for ODU on Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. All right, so how do we go from, guidance counselor to, following the legend in Morgan Wooten? You brought him up. You were very successful in your own right at DeMatha High. What got you to go after an assistant coaching job in college basketball?
Simply said, Mike Young. Mike Young was the head coach, or is the head coach at Virginia Tech. Coach Young had been to recruit my program a few times, and we had a good relationship, but nothing very in depth. And so it kind of caught me off guard. He called me out of the blue and didn't interview me or anything like that. Literally, I want to say the second sentence he said in the call was, "I want to offer you the head coaching job." The associate head coaching job at Virginia Tech. So I did not accept it right away. I mean, because it definitely caught me off guard. But after thinking about it, it was during COVID. I literally was on a USA Zoom call. I had just been named the national team coach for the second time. And literally a few days after that, I had to resign that spot and so that I could take the job at Virginia Tech. So Mike Young is the reason why. And I let everybody know I would not be sitting here at my dream job if it were not for him.
So let's talk about that conversation, because obviously you were in a pretty good, safe is probably a good word at DeMatha High, right? Yeah. And then I'm sure he told you about how tenuous, and you could just follow college basketball, how tenuous some jobs are. How did that conversation go with your family that they said, all right, if we're going to do this, I guess now is the time to try it?
Well, that's why we didn't accept right away.
Right, probably better off that way.
Yeah, it took a few conversations. It took us going down and meeting in person. Some very long conversations with the DeMatha administration. I had a wonderful team returning, a team that was, we were on a pretty good roll. We had won 30 games every season until COVID, and we went undefeated in the COVID season. So. And that was my last season. We were really good, and we were stacked to be good for the next few years. But when I first started at DeMatha, I always thought I was going to be a college coach. So in my first few years, that was always like the goal. After I became the head coach, and after a couple of years of kind of settling in and realizing, at least in my mind, that was what my purpose was, and that's what I was supposed to be doing, I'd kind of pushed those dreams to the side. When Coach Young approached, it became more of a, well, Mike, if you're ever going to do this, like, it probably has to be now. I'm not old, at least I don't consider myself old, but at some point in time, I'm going to be too old to be an assistant coach in college. And in order for me to get the job I have now, I probably had to get out of the high school ranks first. So that decision was made, and everything kind of, I guess you could say, went according to plan.
So was that the goal? Was the whole idea? And I'm sure people know by now you're an ODU alum. You beat Villanova in the NCAA tournament. And so was that the whole goal? The goal was to be the ODU head coach.
The funny thing is, as Mike Young is talking to me after we get into deeper conversations, I mean, obviously, my ultimate goals and dreams come about in the conversation. And I mentioned to him, like, yeah, I would love Like, I don't want to be an assistant coach for the next 15, 20 years. I would love to be a head coach again. And if I had my choice, I'd want that to be Old Dominion. And he, as part of his encouragement for me to take the opportunity was, well, you know, if you want to be that, you probably need to get on this side of the business first.
Right.
And I mean, honestly, amongst all the things and all the factors as to why I did it, that probably was the most heavy one that I couldn't get around, and it just made sense.
All right, so this is interesting. All right, so you've been a high school basketball coach, and so you end up usually with the kids that you get, and now you're out recruiting right before the year before, and I know it's COVID, so we'll put that by the wayside. But now you're recruiting kids the year before the NIL and the portal start showing up. What's been the difference? You had 1 year at that, and now it's been for the last couple of years, it's been NIL and portal.
So I actually, my high school career was full of recruiting. Like, private school, the DC area. You know, it's been illegal to recruit since maybe 1995. So I recruited all the time. And if you know anything about DMV area basketball,
right,
a ton of talent, but you're talking about you need relationships, you need a track record, you need a resume, and truthfully, it became like I feel like I was prepared for college recruiting because of my years recruiting at DeMatha. So
let me see if I got some DMV guys. Lawrence Moten from the DMV.
Yeah.
Let's see here, and also I don't know how many people know Kevin Durant is from the DMV.
Well, you can go back and you can look at, I'll plug a movie real quick. Quinn Cook and Kevin Durant and Victor Oladipo all were executive producers. Kevin Durant's production company, 35 Ventures, actually the year of COVID. So 2021 came out with In the Water Basketball County for all of the Prince George's County basketball players that have gone on to play in the NBA. And it's per capita more, like it's not even close.
Right.
So we do consider ourselves basketball county. And a big portion of that movie is about DeMatha. Which is located in Prince George's County, and the majority of our players come from Prince George's County. So, yeah, proud to be from where I'm from. I think I got the best of both worlds. I'm from the DMV, but my second home and now my first home is the 757, which is also full of talent, and recruiting that area is a priority for me as well. So.
All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the new head coach of ODU, Mike Jones. He talks about his recruiting philosophy, how ODU has grown, his playing style, and he's still not happy about his only former player that has taken him down apparently repeatedly in a three-point shooting contest. Stay tuned for more. We'll do that right after I tell you about Amazon TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports. From live games to highlights to in-depth analysis, Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or a college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels let you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports. March Madness, NBA, Major League Baseball, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, and cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. All right, so let's wrap up our conversation with the head coach of ODU, Mike Jones. He talks about his recruiting. He talks about his playing style and how impressed he is with the ODU community, how much it's grown since he's left. All right, so let's get into it. You got some guys. ODU had obviously a tough season. Jeff Jones having being sick twice with, heart issues out in Hawaii. Got to get all the way back and deal with that. And then he's dealing with cancer, and he decides to retire. And, they held their head above water as much as they could. They had some guys leave. They had some guys hit the transfer portal. what's been your philosophy trying to get some guys to come back, or have you moved on? What's been the whole idea here in trying to to get your roster going, because you had a little bit more time than some others when you got hired, so you kind of prepared for the portal. How quickly do you want to put together a roster so you kind of know what you're dealing with, heading into next season?
Well, we're in the midst of it now. I think the goal from day one has been to surround our program with people, good people, high character people, and people that share the same vision. So the first thing was speaking with the team and speaking with the current staff, but hiring a staff was literally the first thing I knew I had to do, because I had to get people around me. My success that I've had in my career have been because I've been surrounded by really talented coaches, but also coaches that I could trust and that share my vision with me. So that was priority number one. And then once that's happened and we've had our staff in place for a few days now, we jumped right into the portal and started to recruit guys that are like-minded, that are truly competitive, but our kind of people. And I think we've done a good job so far. We got some more moves to make, but we're going to be one big family. I'm huge on that. Again, the best teams I've ever coached didn't necessarily love each other to death like brother and sister would, but there's that family dynamic that you knew you could trust the guy next to you, you can trust the guy playing with you on the court, but also that you can trust your coaches, that we're going to tell the truth, we're going to push you, and wherever your potential lies, we're going to get you as close to that as we possibly can.
So obviously the first place I would think you would go outside of Norfolk is you're going back into the DMV. How do you get guys? How do you fix on guys that are right for ODU, and they're not compared to Maryland or Georgetown or Syracuse or Villanova, right? Or Carolina, whereas they're going to fit where you have a shot at them, right? Like, they're good, and if they come here, great, but maybe we need to find guys that are better suited for what we can do here at ODU.
Well, I want to make sure we don't lower the bar.
Right, that's true.
We're going to go after the best players that we can that fit how we want to play. The biggest thing that I've learned on this side of the business, and this actually came from Leonard Hamilton, my very first recruiting trip at Virginia Tech, Coach Hamilton, who recruited my program at DeMatha, he sees me getting ready to leave the gym, and he tugs on my arm and pulls me to the side and just like, hey, how do you like it? I'm just like, yeah, it's fun. And he goes, let me just give you one piece of advice. And he was like, Mike, the advantage that you will have, you're not going to outwork anybody. He's like, guys in this business work really hard. And I know most coaches come into this thinking like, I'm going to be first in the office, last to leave, and all this other stuff. But he's like, Mike, the advantage you're going to have is the relationships you have. And my DeMatha background, the DMV background, but then also my USA background, I have guys that I coach with that were on staff with me around the country. And he was like, that is what you need to utilize to your advantage, because you'll always be able to get the truth on what a player truly is, his family, right, his work ethic, what kind of student he is, and things like that, because you have guys all over that you can trust. So he said, if the one piece that I'll tell you that you need to really lock in on is those relationships, recruit from guys you know. And whether I took it to heart or not, if I look back on all the guys I recruited, it's literally been that, all the guys that I've been successful with. So Coach Ham has been in this game for a long time for a reason. And that's a piece of advice that clearly works, and I plan to embrace.
All right, a couple more questions here for new ODU men's basketball coach Mike Jones. So has Norfolk grown? At one point in time, it was the largest metropolitan area without a major league city, right? They have some minor league baseball, some minor league hockey, yeah, but there's like 1 million people. And to be honest with you, as poor as ODU was on the court this year, they led the conference in attendance, and not by a little bit. They don't win for like 2 weeks, and yet there's like 5,000 or 6,000 in there every night. So there's a lot of people to draw from. How have you seen, now that you're back, the community and ODU grow, since your time there? It's been,
a lot.
Third year?
A lot.
Yeah. I'm trying to do the math.
I think the biggest thing that I see is the area has grown. Campus looks totally different. Hampton Boulevard, basically splits down the middle of ODU's campus, and the right side with all the academic buildings looks a lot different. The left side that had all the restaurants and bars and things like that, that's where our new arena is. That's where our practice facility is. We're acquiring a medical school. So ODU will have a medical school here in the very near future.
Wow.
President Brian Hemphill has been a godsend to the Norfolk community, but obviously to Old Dominion University. He is very forward thinking, and he demands that of everyone that's on staff at ODU. So there are great times ahead. But speaking of the fan base, like, that is one thing that has not changed. The fan base when I played there was absolutely amazing. I would have put our fan base up against any program in the country, no matter what level. The support we get, and that has not wavered. For our fans to put Old Dominion in the 2 years it's been in the Sun Belt to lead the league in attendance every year, especially this year,
right,
speaks to basically the desire we all have to give them a winner. I mean, they deserve it. They've supported. They haven't gone anywhere. And myself, the staff, our players, our goal is to give them what they deserve, and that's a winner. And we're going to work every single day in order to be able to do that because, again, you're not going to find a better fan base anywhere.
All right, so let's wrap it up. He's head coach Mike Jones, new head basketball coach, ODU. What is the philosophy? I saw a shot sheet from Nate Oates in Alabama. It was all threes and layups. He is Mr. Analytics, and he does not have a plan B. I'm a big plan B guy. If plan A ain't working, he's sticking with plan A. What can ODU fans in trying to win, although I will say that all these teams do have guys that can post up and rebound and play inside. What is Mike Jones's philosophy, and how does he want his team to play night in, night out?
Well, we're going to have the versatility. Before I get into that, I do want to point out I am so proud to be a former high school coach because in the Final Four you do have Kevin Keats, who has done a ridiculously good job. You've got Danny Hurley, who was a former high school coach, and you have Nate Oates, who was a former high school coach. So 3 of the 4 coaches basically getting their start at the high school level. I would encourage anybody to not be so narrow-minded. And again, obviously, I'm on this side now, and our college coach wants to be considered for whatever. But there's a lot of great high school coaches out there, a lot of them that I've worked with over the years that wanted the opportunity, but probably deserve an opportunity too. And I don't think you can go wrong with guys on that side of the business because they've had to do everything. Like, you're looking at coaches coming in and, how do you balance a budget? How do you fundraise? How do you work, daily with academics for your student athletes? Something that college coaches don't have to do, but these guys really, they're built for all the aspects of running a successful program. So sorry for the sidebar, but
that's okay.
I almost feel like I'm obligated to do that because that's who made me the coach I am. So now I don't even remember what the question was now.
Well, before we get back to that, and it's the the style of play. See, I hear what I want to hear. I heard Mike Jones guarantee ODU's going to the Final Four. I don't know what anybody else heard, but I heard what I want to hear. But no, the question was your playing philosophy with a style of play.
Yeah, so we're going to be extremely versatile. If you look at my teams at DeMatha over the course of 19 years, with the levels of success we had, we played a lot of different ways. And it was strictly determined by the personnel. Like when we had Hunter Dickinson, we played through the post. When we had Justin Moore and Jordan Hawkins and those guys, we played through our wings. When we had elite point guard play like James Robinson and Quinn Cook and Jeff Peterson and those guys, Markel Fultz, we let a lot of pick and roll things happen. So we're going to play to our roster. We want to play fast. We want to be very versatile in terms of the type of defenses we play so that we're harder to prepare for. A lot of ball and body movement. The way the game goes now, I want to be difficult to prepare for. If you look at the Sun Belt Conference where they play Thursday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Friday, that second half of those games, you really only have one day to prepare. So the more difficult you are to prepare for, the better chance you'll have to win. So my teams will play the way we need to play to give us the best chance to win. We do plan to win. And we're literally, if you walk into a practice You're going to hear us all talking about winning. This is what wins. This is a winning play. This is a winning mindset, because if you don't think about it, if you don't talk about it, then it doesn't happen. So we're all for the way the game is played today, and we'll play to whatever our roster is.
Can you still stroke it? Can you still shoot it?
Absolutely. I don't want to run up and down too much.
Right.
You let me get my feet set. You can count 3 points.
See that? So now we need video of players who think they can outshoot you in practice, because I got a feeling that's not going to happen.
No, it will not happen. And I can tell you this for once, and shout out to Nate Darling. Nate Darling is the only player that I've ever coached that has outshot me in a shooting contest.
Oh.
And literally, I'm so competitive.
And it still bothers you.
And yes, it does. And it didn't happen just once, because I kept going back, because I was like, I have to beat him. I have to beat him. I have to beat him. So he's literally the only one. And if he ever sees this, I'm sure he'll get a kick out of me saying that, because I do struggle acknowledging that. So
he's head coach Mike Jones, Old Dominion Monarchs, joining us on Locked On Sunbelt. Really appreciate your time, Coach. Congratulations. We'll talk to you down the road, and thanks again for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, special thanks to Mike Jones for hopping on. Really appreciate his time. We're going a little bit longer. We'll recap Tuesday's action from the Sun Belt in baseball right after I tell you about FanDuel. Sports calendar is loaded, and FanDuel is making it even more exciting to get in on the action. Because right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 you can use to bet the tourney, Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, and so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a big win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. All right, Dave Schultz back to wrap things up on a Locked On Sunbelt edition. Thanks to Mike Jones, new ODU head coach, for hopping on. Excuse me, a little bit longer of a episode as we will recap Tuesday's action in the Sun Belt. It was not a great night for the Sun Belt on Tuesday. 13 teams. They got 3 wins. Cajuns won, App State won, and Troy won. Cajuns extended their winning streak to 12 with a 1-run rule. 13-3 win over Nichols. Troy beats Alabama State 14-3, and App State downed High Point 11-3. Other than that, it wasn't very pretty. College of Charleston beats Georgia Southern 13-3 in 8 innings. Georgia beats Georgia State 10-1. Virginia blanks Old Dominion 4-0. Marshall winner because they got rained out against Virginia Tech. Coastal Carolina goes down to Wilmington 6-4. James Madison and Radford were postponed. Arkansas State hammers Arkansas State loses to Arkansas in a ball game that wasn't very close. Southeastern hits a walk-off home run in the bottom half of the 9th. Beats Southern Miss 7-6. And A&M run rules Texas State 12-2. And South Alabama got it to 2-1, but lost to New Orleans 13-3 in 7 innings. Not a good night for the Sun Belt. Sun Belt is having a really good season where they are, at least on Warren Nolan's list, 4th in RPI. Tonight or Tuesday night did not help the case. The Cajuns actually, it works fast. They went from 50 basically during the game. They went to 51, and in between getting home at 9 and starting to record this at 10, they're at 48. I am very concerned about the Cajuns' RPI. They could be having a special season. They got 9 of their next 10 games at home. And the toughest 2 games are going to be against Southeastern. Are they going to win all those games at home? That's not what baseball is. You know, they're 13-4. Now you're going to be 22-4 at home. Do you lose the game on the road to Southeastern? Southern Miss did. it is too much to ask for them to win every single game. I do have to look into the ELO thing on Warren Nolan. The Cajuns are 25 there. If they're 25, then they're fine. My issue is if they're going to be between 35 and 45 or worse, or, if they are 45 and 11, right? If they only lose 3 more times, obviously they won't have to worry about it. But if they start getting to 14, 15, or 16 losses, then I'm going to be nervous without winning a Sun Belt Conference tournament. That's going to be the only thing. Cajuns were pretty good. Duncan Pastore had 4 base hits. Kyle DeBarge with another home run. John Taylor extends his hitting streak to 17 straight. Jack Martinez really probably pitched better than the line would indicate. Went 4 innings. David Christie picks up a 3-inning save in a run rule game. They will get ULM on the weekend. Still worried about the Sunday starter. Carson Fluno is probably out, so they will probably go with Andrew Herman on Friday and Chase Morgan on Saturday. So we shall see. The plan right now is to go to Mississippi for 1 night, but miss 2 ball games. Probably be able to listen to the Cajuns game. I don't know if I'll be able to be back in time. Probably be able to listen to the Cajuns game on the phone and be back certainly for Sunday's game. But I will be in Mississippi probably for Friday night and come back and be home on Saturday. So hopefully we'll preview the rest of this the weekend coming up. Again, thanks to Mike Jones, new ODU men's basketball coach, for hopping on. The rumors that I've started and perpetuated, the Cajuns pitching coach, Gunnar Leje, is expected to join us for Thursday's episode, and we'll also preview the weekend action on Friday's episode, and we'll see if we can get some more guests on as well. We got to get these college football coaches on, because they're going to be one little break they may have is coming up. So, all right. Thanks so much for tuning in to Locked On Sunbelt. Again, special thanks to Mike Jones for hopping on. Real good conversation with him just about in the middle of the move. He's going to the Final Four, and he's coming back and then moving. So best of luck to him, his family, and what's going into that ODU program. He's really excited. It's pretty cool that he's having his dream job at this point in time at the age that he's at. So that's fantastic. All right. Back again on Thursday. Thanks so much for tuning in to Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.